your daughter's identifying as a cat in a children's high school. Can you imagine, like, what are they supposed to do? Give her a litter box, and they don't speak meow. Like, what? So the dean.
It's true though. As crazy as it sounds, it's like insane.
It's mental health.
It's mental health.
It's mental health.
Yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
The dean responded with, "Okay, we just want you to know that we're going to respect your right to be a cat and grow into what a cat is. But the good thing is, we're a school for children, so we're not equipped to deal with animals on campus."
Boom.
Boom. Now they're in a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit.
No.
They're actually really suing the school for that response. And I was like, bro, you're my friend.
Wow.
Like, I've known you since I was a kid. Like, let her know that she's a girl. This fantasy has to stop.
Yeah, I get it. We're here with Mohawk, Matt, you guys, getting right into it. Yeah, I have a 15-year-old, my son, and he always messes around. He's like, Mom, today I'm going to identify as. And he's just,
I do that too.
You know?
Lately, I've been identifying as a giraffe because I'm a majestic creature.
I love that.
Yeah.
Today I am, what am I? I'm going to be a lion. My
Ooh.
last name, Leone, means lion in Italian. Which is
Wow,
cool,
awesome.
right?
That's powerful. Yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely have the. Why should you not? Your pronouns should be lion.
That's right. It
Yeah.
should be
Jungle creature.
a jungle creature.
Yeah.
Okay.
The king of the jungle.
King of the jungle.
Queen of the jungle.
Queen.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Well, thanks
Great.
for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad we got to meet finally.
Yes, finally.
You got a big personality. Where'd that come from? Have you always been that way?
I've always been like a people person. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and I grew up from graffiti, from sports to so I was always involved in groups of people. So I always knew how to network and keep people connected and get us to do things. So it's always been a part of my personality.
Yeah. You got all the tattoos.
Yeah, that's a work in progress. It's constantly changing.
How long have you been doing this for?
I started when I was 15.
15.
Yep, 15.
I just got my son I'm going to say it. People, some parents probably going to get mad at me, but whatever. I signed a consent form. Okay, you
Yeah.
guys. I got my son his first tattoo.
Dope.
At
What did he get?
14.
What did he
He's
get?
15 now. It's like a little Roman saying on his chest.
Oh, he went for the chest for the first one. Ooh, right on, little guy.
Yep, it's like this big.
Dope.
And now he's already hooked. He's like,
Of
Mom, I
course.
got to get this and I got to get that. And I'm like, let's just pump the brakes for a minute.
Okay, listen. I would like to I've spent more time covering up and removing what I thought I wanted.
Yeah.
So like the things we want then are nowhere near what we're gonna want now.
I know, right? And I
Yeah.
tell him that. And that's why I'm like, let's just pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Like my sleeves, like this one was, I calculated this. Like, okay, I want a Japanese
Yeah.
sleeve. I want this
For
one.
the record, I can't
yeah.
stand people like you that planned a full sleeve.
Sorry.
You're so lucky. I was one of those guys that just piece, and then when we're done, let's just throw some smoke behind everything. I wish I could have planned out a themed Viking, because I grew up between two different cultures. I'm a white boy, but I
Yeah.
grew up between the Mexican Cholo culture and my Viking heritage. So like I got like half my tattoos full of Cholo stuff and the other half is Viking.
Yeah. I'm so like OCD, just have to plan stuff out a certain way. And so, yeah, it was cool because my tattoo artist, I've known him for going on 17 years.
Yeah.
What's up, Mike Suarez? And he did my back piece literally like 16 years ago. I got into my addiction really bad. And I kind of I didn't screw him over, but me and him were dating and I did some things that weren't so nice, the things we do in our addiction.
The things we do.
And I waited until I was like 2.5 years sober to reach out to him.
Yeah.
I said, hey, man, I need to make an amends.
Yeah.
And I made an amends with him. And it's so crazy, like timing with things, you know? And he was like, dude, you don't even understand like how much I needed that because I just went through a gnarly breakup and you just showed me that people can change, right?
Yeah.
And like renewed my faith in humanity. Because he was in this like space of like, fuck, people never change.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll sleeve you out. Let's just get rolling on it.
Right on.
Like, I'm so stoked you're sober, you
Right
know?
on.
So I was like, nice.
Yeah. Sometimes our men will change things for people.
Yeah. So you've worked all the steps.
I'm on my fourth
Fourth time?
time. I'm halfway through them. I kind of took a break because I was getting overwhelmed with the 4-step for the first time. I've done them so many times that now I'm just every year I go over with my sponsor and just add new stuff that's shown up.
Yeah.
So right now I'm on the 4th, writing the 4th out, and I took a break, but I'm pretty sure it's my 4th time through them.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you obviously learn new stuff every time.
Every time.
What do you learn you find the most?
Recently, I'm in a struggle with the program personally. I have stopped going to meetings a little bit. I've been utilizing social media more. I'm sponsoring like 3 guys.
Right.
I'm doing show after show. So I've found a way to use recovery in this industry to do it my way.
I love that.
I can touch more people this way.
Yeah.
And I can touch more people that actually want to hear it.
Yeah.
Instead of just listening to someone at a meeting who said the same thing for the past 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to do what works for you, what's
Yeah.
right for you, what feels right.
Yeah, and this is what works for me.
Yeah, and it works for me too, actually. Like I did AA pretty hardcore for the first couple of years. And again, me too, nothing against AA. A lot of friends in the program. But then I just kind of went on my own way, found my own spirituality.
You have to find your own way. You have to look. My sponsor tells me, take what applies, let the rest fly.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have gathered a lot of this from the program that I use.
Yeah.
And I just some of the stuff that I'm not okay with.
Yeah.
I don't have to be around it. I've learned that's the best thing I can do. I don't have to be around it.
No. Yeah, you don't have to be. And I love to just recover out loud, and I do it in every way.
I recover out loud. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not anonymous. Yep. My name's Mohawk Matt, and I'm 5 years sober and some change.
Nice.
And I love it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's funny because I've started really recovering out loud on social media, and
Me too.
I've gotten some haters.
You will.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because people are like, "Oh, it's
anonymous program."
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but then this goes to say what I was just saying. A lot of those people, they're stuck in a small bubble of not growing. People have said that I'm not humble when I say this, but I tend to disagree. People need to see that I didn't get sober to sit in an AA meeting and drink shitty coffee and sit with a bunch of half homeless people that are still homeless sober. Yeah. I got sober to be doing what we're doing right now. I got sober to fucking travel and work for a company. I got sober to have my image out there so I can be an example. I didn't get sober to sit at the Valley Club and do absolutely nothing every Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah.
I got sober to live. We are not a glum lot, it says in the book.
No.
And I will have a life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for me, it's like, I never want to settle in life. I never want to, I want to grow. I want to do bigger things, better things, become the best version of myself in every way possible and help as many people as I can. Yeah. And when we live our lives like this.
When we live out loud like we're doing with podcasts, with the clothing company, with Stolen Clothing that I work for. Dude, I travel to conventions twice a month. And you know how many people in that industry are like, whoa, bro, Mohawk, you're sober? Yeah. I'm sober, but I was afraid I don't want to tell people in the industry. And I'm like, tell them, dog. Yeah. Tell them you're sober. Be an example.
Yeah.
We can touch way more people doing this than I can sitting in a meeting drinking stale coffee.
Hell yeah.
And no offense to that, though.
Right. Yeah. And being sober needs to be looked at as something that's fucking cool.
And it's important.
Yeah.
It's important for all those people out there that have been just as disgusting and filthy as we have and have turned it around.
Yeah. And they need mentors and people to look up to, that are out there doing this. So good on you for doing it. That's awesome. Thank you. So you got sober about 5 years ago. I know your journey before then was pretty
terroristic,
pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, it was bad.
So you spent some time in prison.
I spent 19 years in prison.
19 years. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. 3 different terms. Never home longer. I did 3 years, just a little, like 3 years and a couple months. I was home for 90 days. Went immediately back for 3 years and 8 months. I was home for 98 days. On the 98th day, I was back incarcerated for 12 years and a half, almost 13 years.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And
it rounds around to about 19 years and some change.
Yeah.
But,
and you surrendered through that process to just, this is what my life is? I mean, were you a lifer
When I
there?
went to prison for the last time, my plan was to become so actively involved that I wasn't coming home. I mean, to be sentenced to 9 years, I was sentenced to 9 years on the last term, and I turned it into 12 and a half years, almost 13, because of my behavior. But being sentenced to 9 years really isn't a lot. But to me at that time, in my age, I was like, that's it. My life's over.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not coming home, but you're going to remember my name.
Yeah.
And I did everything in the steps process to
do
actively
that.
Involved in the prison system.
Yeah. And you were doing drugs in there, I take it?
Drugs in there. The thing about drugs in jail is people can get strung out, but it's kind of hard to because they're not as consistently available. They are, but it's still a hustle to find them. And so there are brief times where it won't hit the yard or there's a dry out and you sober up in the process. So
yeah.
I mean, I did it when I could.
Yeah. When did you start using drugs?
I mean, I think I was 21. Peer pressure.
Okay. So
I went from being a graffiti artist and a really successful drug dealing gang member to playing sports, almost playing professional baseball. And I chose one bright night at the age of 21, my homeboy Chubbs. I love you, Chubbs, no matter what. But I had the bright idea to try crack cocaine in the 90s.
Wait. And that was the first time you tried drugs?
No marijuana, no cigarettes.
Wow.
And I'm talking crack.
Yeah.
Crack that movies are written about were like Chris Rock smoking.
Like New Jack City?
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Picture him shaking. That was me. Not the first time.
Yeah.
But the first time I tried it, it was instantaneous. My life took a smooth fucking dive down. Within a 1 year time, I lost everything I had. Guns, jewelry, cars, my drug dealing business.
Wow.
Friends. My career as a gang member immediately plummeted. I went from one of the top gangbanging homeboys in my gang and selling drugs to someone that was not reliable, not trustworthy, don't leave anything laying around, stealing from my parents, stealing from you, assaulting people to get drugs. It was horrible.
And your family, I mean, people around you, was anybody like, hey, man?
Yeah, of course. They were embarrassed. They humiliated. Nobody wanted to hang out with me. Nobody trusted me. You know what's funny, but not to drift subjects, but
Yeah, no, it's fine.
saying what I just said right now, that's why I try and urge these groups that pass out crack pipes and needles. If you only knew what happens from one crack pipe that you hand out someone, you think you're doing a service, the amount of crime and harm that's done just off a crack addict having that crack pipe, we're talking probably 2 weeks of crime, harm, damage, stealing, physical assaults, mental health, anguish, physical sickness. That thing you think you're helping them with causes a week or more of just so much harm in the community. You have no idea. And it ripples out into the community. People are affected by that crack pipe. People are robbed, stolen from, assaulted, mentally and verbally assaulted on bus stops. You have no idea what happens handing out
that
these
ripple
drugs.
effect.
That ripple effect. With the needles, too, you have no idea what these people are causing. They call themselves harm reduction. If someone kept giving me safe drugs, like they're saying safe needles, I would have never got sober. I had to hit that horrible, ugly, dark.
What did that look like when you got sober? What was...
I had taken over my mom's house. My end of my addiction came after my house had been shot up where I grew up. My mom moved while I was in prison to the Santa Clarita Valley up by Magic Mountain. A beautiful 5.5 bedroom home, which I turned the second story into a fucking trap house.
Wow.
I turned the second story into like a basic mini mansion into something that would disgust anybody. Graffiti, torn up the floorboards, the carpet. Mind you, I'm tweaking, so I think I'm doing home improvements. This room had been torn down. I call it that damn room because it's become the bane of my existence, but it's also where I never want to return to. The room was torn. If you could picture a room with no drywall, the drywall ripped off, holes punched all over. Mind you, I had been slamming meth and heroin back and forth. There's needles. These walls, imagine holes punched in the walls, and there's thousands. And I'm not kidding you. Looking in the eye, there are thousands of syringes filled with blood, ones I couldn't fix with, just syringes. Hepatitis C infected throughout these walls. Thousands. There's graffiti on the walls. I've ripped the carpet up because I'm hearing noises in the carpet. I'm laying on a mattress that is filthy and sweaty. I've also ripped out the electrical sockets.
So your mom obviously isn't here.
My parents are terrified, living downstairs. They've moved They've moved into the downstairs living room, huddling. I've destroyed the electricity in this home. I've torn apart their air conditioning units because I think they're listening stations.
Wow.
I believe that was on the Truman Show. I believe that there was some kind of movie being syndicated about my life, and I'm looking for the aha moment that never came.
Wow.
In the process, destroyed.
Yeah.
And I mean destroyed their home while they sit down together, huddled, two old people, terrified of me at any moment. They're not enabling me. They just physically can't remove me from the house because I'm too violent and strong. I remember the last day I had done 17 shots of meth and heroin back to back. Mind you, I've been praying for 2 weeks. I believe in Jesus, but I also believe in my Viking history. I've been praying to Odin or Jesus back and forth like, man, please, I want to stop. I don't know how to stop. For 2 solid weeks, I'm praying in the dark while I'm doing meth and getting filthier and filthier. Haven't showered. I'm probably 90 pounds.
Wow.
I'm praying.
You 90 pounds?
Yeah. I'm praying to these people, please, please make it stop. I can't handle it. The last shot I injected into my privates. And mind you, I know how to use a needle.
That's a thing? You can do that?
Oh, that's it. I've
never heard of that before.
I don't recommend it, but I recommend it.
Don't do it, guys.
Don't do it. The experience, though, is... Anyways.
Okay.
And I'm not missing none of these veins. I'm a professional drug addict.
Yeah.
I'm not missing. And I'm realizing, what the fuck? No, I've done enough meth and heroin probably to kill a horse. Finally realized, holy shit, my prayers have been answered. I've been begging 2 different entities to make this stop, and one of them answered my call.
No way.
There's just it's not working. 17 shots of meth and heroin should have snapped my brain or killed me, shut my heart down.
Nothing.
Nothing happened. Not even high. I'm not high. I'm not jonesing. I'm just even keel.
Wow.
And I was smart enough to knock on that door, open the door finally. And I remember the cool breeze coming in at the top of the stairs, and I just called my mom's name, and that little old lady ran her ass up the stairs and said, "Are you ready?" Oh. And I said, "Yeah, I'm ready, Mom." And I looked at her and I was crying, and I'll never forget that feeling. I just said, "I don't give a fuck what you want me to do. Just don't make me go back in that room. I don't even care what's in the room. Leave it. Please get me out of that damn room, Mom."
Yeah.
And just whatever you want me to do. At that point, that's why I tell people, when you assist people doing drugs, you're doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
They have to come to that moment where I was willing, when I walked out of that room, if you would have said, "Scrub my toilet after I took a shit," I was willing. I would have raised my hand. I would have done it 7 times a day. Doesn't matter what you would have wanted me to do. If that would have kept me sober and out of that fucking damn room, I was willing.
Yeah. That moment of complete
It's
surrender.
Surrender. It's the rock bottom.
Yeah.
I was completely spiritually and mentally broken.
Mm-hmm.
And that only comes when you're not enabling and not assisting someone.
Yeah. And how'd you find your way back? Like, what was that journey like for you?
It was long. It's basically like being a child. I tell people all the time, you don't just get sober and get the family and the job back.
No.
Fuck no. Sometimes you're lucky if you ever even get to see your children.
Yep.
I've done some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
I was never no sex predator, no weirdo like that, or whatever. But like, I did a lot of physical. I was very violent physical. I was the type of dude that would attack you at 7-Eleven for accidentally maybe crossing my path.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of weird, like, amends to make, a lot of physical amends to my family. And I'm not better than anyone, but I have the luxury of saying that I didn't do what's going on in the streets like that. I never used in the public. I never disrespected families and children and got high in front of family. I kept my bullshit at home.
Yeah.
It's not any better, but
Yeah.
it's my reality. I was smart enough to keep my behavior at home off the streets.
Yeah.
And but things were different in my day too. In my day, if you're getting high in front of your kids, your homies would check you. I had homeboys that would have never tolerated you getting high in front of kids. I was like a child. I had to relearn. My sponsor taught me how to be a man.
Yeah. And that's okay. You know, and it's a process and you have to be patient.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to get sober and I'm just going to feel better and my family's going to take me back and all these things.
No,
and
it's a long journey.
No, it's a journey.
Just like with the amends, I made a lot of amends where people were like, hey, man, I don't fuck you. Get away from me.
Yeah.
And we have to be prepared. I tell my sponsors all the time, you got to be prepared. Nobody owes you shit.
And what do you do in those situations?
You just realize that the amends are about you. They're actually not about them. They're about you. You're doing it for yourself. It's
Yeah.
good. It's good if they're on board and they'll accept it. But
Yeah.
be prepared that a lot of people might not.
Yeah.
If you've done even a quarter of what I've done, be surprised if you might not be spit on or smacked.
Yeah. And you got to be okay with that.
You have to be okay with that.
Yeah. And what about forgiveness for you? Forgiveness for others, forgiveness for yourself. What was that journey like?
I still struggle with forgiveness sometimes. I'm kind of stubborn.
Yeah.
But it's a journey. I've forgiven most of the people. I didn't have much bad stuff done to me. I had a problem with the cops because I had gotten a lot of physical altercation with cops over some aggressive stuff that they did, and I responded back with. So with that, I've gotten to the point where I just don't fuck with cops and they don't fuck with me. It's weird. As soon as I got sober, my energy changed. Where unless I'm texting and driving, cops don't really fuck with me.
Yeah.
And looking like I look, like you'd think that I'm a tar. I got fucked the sheriff's department tattooed across the side of my head, and they still don't fuck with me. I'm telling you, my energy changed, so I'm left alone. And that big ass black car I drive around with loud music, nothing.
Yeah. I got pulled over yesterday. I have a Hellcat and
Okay.
and I was flying and I got pulled over and I was like, oh, here we go. And you know what?
It's reckless driving too.
Yeah, because I was flying and he comes up to the window and I was like, just be kind.
Oh, you're a girl.
And
Knock it off. You're a girl with tattoos and blue eyes. You're totally getting out of that.
And he let me go.
Of course he
let me
did.
go. But like that wouldn't happen before. Like I've been on high speed chases and like crazy shit. And I've had, issues with the police and my energy.
Yeah, our energy's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
We conduct
Even when
ourselves.
I get pulled over, like I recently got one and I was going through El Segundo and I got pulled over I was texting, swerving, and in the carpool lane. And the cop pulls me over and he goes, dude, I tried to just let you go with the swerve, but he goes, fuck, you're by yourself in the carpool lane. He goes, I was still holding the phone when he came in the window and he goes, at least hide the phone, bro. So like the cop actually was funny. He gave me 17 chances. He goes, I got to write you a ticket.
Yeah.
So I accepted it. Yeah.
How do you keep this energy all the time? What fuels you?
I'm happier today doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Driving around and just, I do 300 things a day.
Yeah. You live a really purposeful life. Like, what does that look like?
Everything I do is for others. I do photo shoots I work for Stolen Clothing, but like if there are any small people out there trying to grow and build, if they send me stuff, I run out and get photos for them. I advertise for them. I do, for my company alone, social media, I do recruiting, I do sales.
And you're all self-made.
Yeah. Well, I built myself with Stolen Clothing. Stolen Clothing opened up the door for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's my family.
How did that happen?
Well, part of my story getting sober is I always loved Stolen Clothing. Tattoos and artwork is amazing.
Yeah.
My mom, when I first had that moment where I wanted to get sober, mind you, I had tried a few times before that, but I wasn't ready. So this time she knew it. She felt it too. Every Friday she'd bring me a bag of Stolen Clothing.
No way.
Yeah. And every Friday,
your mom's amazing.
Yeah. And every Friday she'd be like, okay, make it to next Friday. Until I hit 9 months. And at 9 months.
That's really cool.
Yeah. At 9 months, she said, here's your last bag. I want you to go do something for me now. I was like, no problem. So I brought her a year sober right after that.
Wow.
And she was, it was a really good thing. So I told this story. I bumped into the owner, Uncle Jeremy, and we became friends immediately. And I started out with just buying the clothes, taking selfies and the t-shirts, and then they eventually picked me up to do a model. And then before you know it, I'm running most of the social media, recruiting people. I do the conventions. I do everything with them.
And you guys, you go worldwide? I mean,
Worldwide.
are you all over the place?
Oh, we're everywhere. We're all over from here to Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So you travel the States a lot.
Yeah, we like Friday I leave to Arizona. I just came back from Texas last weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you help people along the way? I mean, people come and talk to you,
Dude,
huh?
That's why being sober, working for this company.
Yeah. You're like a walking advertisement
Yeah.
for sobriety and cool
And it
shit.
ripples out, and it ripples out. You'd be surprised, or who beautifully famous artists are like struggling with it, and when they hear about me, they're like, "Wow, maybe I could talk to this guy and open up."
Yeah.
And it's just great relationships that I'm making.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you see the most out there that people are doing? I mean, I know fentanyl is like really bad, but
I mean, I can't relate to fentanyl. That's a weird thing.
yeah.
I haven't heard.
I was never a fentanyl
I never
user.
tried it.
Yeah.
Never tried it.
Me neither.
I was doing meth and heroin, and then now I've heard there's not even heroin on the streets anymore.
It's like, it's all fentanyl.
But watching what I'm watching with the behavior and how they're acting, I don't understand why people are signing up to do it. It's like a fucking 90% chance you'll die also.
Yeah.
And then it turns you into an instant tent person homeless. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see the draw to it.
No, I think a lot of things need to change. You know, the way people use drugs, you know, this younger generation coming up. I mean, it's changed.
The problem is, and I say this is going to piss people off, but I look at things, facts and reality. This generation, they're number one, like I said, we had older homeboys that would whoop our ass. If you're going to sit in
Hold
a tent,
you accountable,
you're
yeah.
going to sit in a tent and masturbate and or shoot fentanyl in front of children walking by going to school, you're going to get your ass whooped. There is no more people who are holding this generation accountable. This generation of doing drugs are urban camping. They have found a loophole to get out of any responsibility and sit on taxpayers' money and collect these government checks to sit in a tent that they bought with mine and your money and his money. They're sitting on corners just doing drugs in front of the public.
True.
And they're sitting out there on these areas because why? People are showing up with these fake nonprofit organizations that they're making money off these people's misery. They build a nonprofit, they show up and give them water and give them puppy food. For number one, a homeless person has no business with a puppy. It sounds horrible, like people are, oh, you're not sensitive. No, I'm being realistic.
Yeah.
The rest of us in the world that, number one, have never done drugs or lived that lifestyle, and number two, like me and you, have chosen to get sober, that have children, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Stop feeding the bears.
Yeah.
The bears are multiplying in record numbers. They have built structure after structure to help them go into transitional homes. You know what happens? They won't stay there because they have to stay drug-free. They have to do a chore. God forbid you have to sweep outside when you're given a free house. And then they have curfews.
Yeah.
Darn, you were just living in a tent. You should be grateful for a room with air conditioning and a TV.
Yeah. It's funny you're saying that because I was just having this conversation with somebody and it's like, okay, what is the answer here? Because I feel like we're just keep going around in circles and circles and circles.
Yeah.
And it's like I was down on Skid Row a little while ago and I was watching what was happening. You know, there's lots of groups down there and they just would go from group to group to group, getting everything
All their
they need
supplies
for the
they
day.
need for the week or
and
the day.
And I'm like, okay, yes, on one hand, right, I feel bad that is their quality of life, that they're willing to live like that.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I'm like, okay, but we're making it available to live like that. And so what is the answer?
The problem is there's no accountability. They're not held
Right.
accountable. The
Yeah.
solution is don't feed.
Don't feed the bears.
I have a solution that costs taxpayers nothing. If you make it illegal, start enforcing loitering laws. Let them know you guys have to leave. We don't care where you go, but you are no longer allowed to live like this. Number
Yeah.
one, there has to be mental health available and maybe medical attention because a lot of these people are in desperate need for mental health and medical attention. And then you have to stop giving them stuff. They're accumulating in spots like Skid Row because these groups show up and give them stuff. The groups are showing up because they're not doing it to be nice, because if you really understood the problem, you wouldn't enable it. They're doing it because they've created nonprofit organizations that they're making a lot of money. They're pocketing a lot of money off giving these people these things. These people are not doing it because they want to volunteer all week.
Yeah.
They're making money off our misery. And I find that offensive.
Yeah.
I find it offensive because these addicts, some of these people, one of those needles you give them could be the shot of fentanyl that kills them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you believe in it, we've been saying in our movement, if you believe in handing out needles, put your name on the needle. So that way these people know when they either leave the needle laying around in the street and a kid gets hurt on it, where it came from, or you're the one that gave him a needle for that last shot that killed him.
Yeah, I mean, because that is what's happening now with the fentanyl. I mean, and I don't get why people are doing it. I really
they're
don't.
Just discarding the needles on the street. They're not using sharps containers and protecting them.
Yeah.
They keep saying, well, it's disease control. No, because you're giving them bags of needles that they're not disposing of. You're increasing the disease by because these people are leaving them in the gutters. We see them in downtown everywhere.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. And a lot of people think that way and they just don't want to speak it. So thanks for speaking your truth.
That's what I get. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for saying it. I just didn't want to be the guy to say it. Because
Yeah.
it sounds insensitive, but in reality, you have to close your eyes and remove this hippie, constant love. I'm just going to love you back to sobriety angle because that's not reality. Cold, hard facts is reality. Stop helping them.
Yeah.
None of these people, and I'm going to go even further. The sad thing is probably 8 and 10 of them are not going to mentally make it back into the world, even if they got sober. So we are going to have to need some sort of government, like psychiatric teams or hospitals opened up, because if you really want to clean up the streets, most of these people they're pretty damaged.
Yeah.
And they might not make it back.
Yeah, no, some people, I mean, they say no one's too far gone, but the mental health problems
The mental
are
health,
just...
well, because you have mental health people that are doing drugs that are making their brains worse.
Yeah. And you were talking about like memory and stuff from doing
Yeah.
just way too much meth. So what did it do to your brain? How'd you recover from that?
I tell people when they get sober, like everybody thinks they're going to get sober and it's just, let's get the job and get everything back. It's a long process. For me, it was about 9 months I had to fight because I was borderline. I was like one more shot away of being schizophrenic and being committed.
Okay.
My brain was making up scenarios that I really thought were happening, and I was violently invested in confronting these realities that were not real at all. So
would you actually go after people and
you're
these
damn
like
right I would.
Yeah.
I would think if I was obsessed, I had the obsession where someone was fucking my ex-girlfriend. And when I would watch porn, I would think that the porn movie was about me making fun of me. So it took me about 9 months for that noise in my head to slow down.
Yeah.
I had to battle daily the paranoid thoughts, the accusations, this person, my sponsor doesn't really like me. He's playing with me. He's doing this because he's making fun. I had to hourly. Sometimes staying sober for me was by the hour. 6 months, it slowed a little bit.
Yeah.
9 months, a little bit. At a year, I felt a little bit free. But at 5 years, this year's the first time I could say, I honestly think, like my sponsor always says, I heard my head pop out of my ass. And I'm a little bit way more even keeled now.
I was having this conversation with somebody that was here yesterday that has he got sober really young, so he has like 16 years, and I'm going on 7, and he said the first 5 are like the hardest when you're just like starting to relearn yourself and understand what is actually going on, because I made a lot of like stupid mistakes and didn't have the awareness, the self-love, not a good relationship, all within the first 5 years. And I feel like these last 2 years, I've finally been like, okay, I know who I am. I know what I want, you know, and having that mentality, not really caring about all the outside noise anymore and all that stuff. But those first 5 years are not easy.
No, they're not. But like you're saying, I think I've recently just been coming into like what you're saying, the beginning of it, where I'm like, I'm cool with what I want.
Yeah.
I'm learning what I like and what Matt likes. And if you don't like it, cool. I'm going to go this way. You can just travel. And I'm just doing my groove. I'm doing what I want, my thing. And I've started to realize that I don't have to impress people anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get your approval. Either you're on my team or you're not. And I'm okay with either choice.
Yeah. And when you start to go that way, all the right people start aligning.
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
Well, the thing I'm learning too is when you do what you want or what you feel is right, be prepared. You will lose some people
for sure,
but it's okay because I didn't need them anyway.
Yeah,
because I have to like in regards to like the harm thing that I'm speaking out on. A lot of people think it's insensitive, and I've lost some people because they say, "Oh, you don't remember how it is," and I'm like, "Well, that's okay, but I feel passionate enough about this to where if you're gone, I'm not going to miss you."
What do you tell guys that are struggling with that, finding that sense of self?
It's a battle. If this was years ago, like maybe even in my first year of sobriety, I would have jumped on anything because I thought it'd be cool to get out there. But it's just something you have to learn. You have to learn with what you'll stand for and what you'll fall for. But I know that if you don't stand for a few things, you will fall for everything.
It's so true.
Yeah.
How do you stay consistent? Because that's hard. I mean, having a dream and a vision is one thing, right? But unless you're consistent, have the discipline to do it every day, it doesn't work. And obviously you have the consistency and the discipline.
It's easy for me because it's just like, it's what I do.
It's who you are.
It's who I am. Yeah, it's what I do. It's just, I just go. I'm on a route, and everything is, for some reason, it's just snapping into place right now for me, little by little.
Yeah. And being on this journey of recovery, what has it taught you the most about yourself?
It's taught me, I say this thing a lot where everybody's like, well, what would you change? And like, I think recovery and where I'm at has taught me that I even if I had the chance, genie in a bottle, to go back and undo some of that shit, even the worst shit, even like the most horrific, where I hit my dad one night from behind because I thought in my head he was hooking up with my girlfriend. It's the worst moment I have that. My mom being knocked down in a scuffle. I have to have gone through all of those things to be where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So in reality, I couldn't change shit. I would have had all that prison time. I had to go through all that prison time and get involved in laser off tattoos that were stupid and hateful, that don't apply in the real world, that only really are important in prison.
Yeah.
I had to go through all of that trauma therapy, that the therapy to retrain my thinking to realize, well, I had to go through all of this to be right here. So I can't change nothing.
Yeah.
It has to have, I would have had to go through all of that again.
Yep.
Or else right here, right now, talking with you, ain't worth shit.
Yep. I agree with you.
Yeah.
All that stuff. I had to take like all my negative, all the trauma, all of that,
Yeah.
and turn it into something positive.
Yeah.
In the way we live our lives today.
Yeah.
So your relationship with your mom and dad are still together?
Well, me and my dad will always be a little
little
strained because, I mean, my dad's was in the Air Force in Vietnam, and just some of the stuff I went through is really hard for my dad to comprehend. He's better than he has been, but I think he'll always have a resentment. My mom and me are great.
Yeah.
Great. Best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get judgments for your tattoos? I get judgments just with mine.
I do sometimes, but the way the world is, tattoos are so trendy and popular right now that I think I get more love than I get judgments. If you could have seen a quarter of what I had when I came home from prison,
So where'd you get lasered off of? Like everywhere?
My whole forehead.
Your whole forehead.
Down my cheek, my penis, my chest. I had a big thing lasered, the insides of my arms and the back of my calf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you walked away from that whole life.
I like to say that the ideals changed. I will always be a part of it because I left in good graces. But my thinking and what I'm doing right now doesn't work with that. And I left it behind. I left it where it needed to stay.
Yeah.
A lot of that prison shit doesn't really work out here.
Yeah. What do you think of the word institutionalized? I mean, people talk about that a lot.
I think it's real because I had that for like a couple years. When I came home from prison, I did my laundry in a sink. I wore shower shoes in the shower in my own home.
Yeah.
I locked myself. I had PTSD. I had more PTSD from prison than I did when I was in the military. And I locked myself in a room and did drugs and had a girl brought over once a week for fun. And I was completely shell-shocked. So
it takes time.
Yeah, it took me like about a year and a half maybe to get out of that.
And how long after you got out of prison than when you got sober?
A while.
A while.
I mean, I've been sober. Okay, I've been out since 2013. So that is 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Yeah.
I've been sober for 5. So it took me, 7?
7.
Wait, no, I've been out 10 years, right? Yeah. Okay. So
5.
5 years.
So 5 years.
The first 5 years was horrible.
Yeah.
I tried getting sober a couple times and it didn't work. So.
What'd you try doing?
Go do a detox, go to rehab. But it was usually to impress my parole officer
Yeah,
because I didn't want to go back to jail. I was like, okay, let's just try rehab.
It wasn't really because you had surrendered.
That's why
right?
that moment when I did was the most important because I realized, wow, this is it.
What's your daily routine like?
I get up in the morning. I try to hit the gym in the morning. I do a little daily reflections reading. I have a roll call of homeboys and homegirls, about 15, 20 people that every morning it's good morning, I love you.
Nice.
And then
I love that.
Yeah, every morning. Even
That's
if I'm
so
out of
important.
Town, every morning, yeah. Coffee. I'm a coffee and a tea guy. I have a cup of coffee and then a cup of tea. And then I start, whether it's driving to a photo shoot, I have to jump on social media. Social media is a monster. People don't realize how hard it is, but I maintain 4 or 5 accounts, and it's
crazy.
Very time consuming.
I've just started doing mine a couple months ago, and I'm like, this is a lot just for myself. So you manage all that yourself?
Yeah. I share the main one with Uncle Jeremy. He does most of the posting. I do the story feed on the main clothing page. I do the family page by myself. I run my account, which is pretty big now. I run 2 of my homeboys' tattoo shop pages also. And I tell people, it's really important. Instagram is really important today. TikTok is something fun, I think, that people are using, but Instagram is major because it's like an online magazine. You have to be posting. You have to be responding to comments and liking. You also have to slide through feeds and like other people's shit.
Yeah.
You have to. Your story.
I need to do more of that.
You have to because if you want love, you got to show love.
Right.
You got to make sure you follow just enough back. You don't want to follow too many back, but you always want to keep your followers low.
Yeah. What do you think about these people with all these fake accounts?
Oh, it's bullshit. I don't respond. If I don't know you, I won't respond to you now. Like I watch. You have to watch what you click. You have to watch what you respond to. Yeah, people are desperate to try and ruin what you've created. Yeah, and that's sad too.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing like motivational speaking?
Yeah, I can. You know what's weird? It's funny. My sponsor is the greatest motivational speaker. He's a giant. He's literally
like legit a giant.
6'6". He's a monster.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Not one tattoo. Did a bunch of prison time. Fucking love him. We were he's just one of my on my journey forever from joint to sobriety, and he's a great power speaker. His voice is like, he sounds like the Hulk echoing throughout the caverns.
It's captivating.
But he doesn't even need the microphone. The microphone will be over here. That's what, he doesn't need it. But he's good in the rooms. He's good on podcasts too. I'm good on podcasts or like one-on-one with groups of people. If you put me at a meeting and have me be the speaker, I clam up.
I'm the same way.
I can't. With the light on me and at a podium,
I'm the
if
same
there's
way.
40 people in chairs looking at me, I will clam up and I'm done.
What do you think that is? Because I get the same thing.
But I'm great on the radio shows.
Yeah.
And I'm great like this. But you put me in front of a room where people are actually sit there staring at me, I will drop the ball.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on that right now because I get this anticipated anxiety.
Yeah.
Where it's the craziest thing. Like we have this Recover Out Loud meeting. It's our first one this Friday here. It's actually here, and I'm gonna have to speak, right?
Yeah.
And I'm already like, oh my god, am I gonna be able to do this? Am I gonna?
I do that every year when I take
black out?
the cake. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to say? I'm going to give them 30 seconds. I'm just going to little experience, strength, hope, real quick, 45 seconds and get off. I have like the shits going. I'm like so nervous. Yeah, but put me on a show like this and we can just run with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you'd do great at it if you could get past that.
Or like I'm realizing and talking to my sponsor, maybe this is just better for me.
Yeah.
My recovery is a different journey than most.
Yeah. And people need to hear this and they need to know that it's not just one way.
Yeah.
You know, we're not the same. Like, yes, we need to look for the similarities, not the differences in that space. But us as humans, like we're all unique and different.
Yeah.
And drug use and life and society and social media, it's different now than what it used to be. And we need to recover differently. Yeah. And we need to recover out loud.
Things are changing. Yes, I agree with that.
Big time. Yeah. You know, do you have any kids?
I have a 23-year-old. It's just, I don't get to talk to him much every now and then.
Yeah.
Only because of my behavior. It's my fault.
You don't look like you would have a 23-year-old.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So my 15-year-old, he's all caught up in that social media space. You know, and it's just different. Yeah. And like false realities and expectations of what life really is. Yeah. You know, so we have to show them. We have to show them that it's not like we still have struggles. Like life isn't always great.
Social media lets anybody. You can put anything on. You can put any display on you want, but reality is not like that.
Yeah. So how do you deal with like real life struggles?
I talk to people. I got a good network of friends. But for me, my real life is not much different than my social media. It's one of the things I pride myself on.
Yeah,
my social media presence is pretty
it's
much
real.
My comments, my opinions, who I am is who I am. And I don't let people alter. I don't use filters on my photos. Yeah. I'm not, nothing, none of my shit is fake. It's real.
Yeah. So I heard you say earlier about, you know, doing therapy and working on that trauma work. And I know a lot of guys and women have a struggle with that. You know, they want to be tough. I don't need that. I'm good. This will pass. I mean, what do you say to people out there that think like that?
I mean, it helped me. Yeah. I was a pretty active gang member and pretty deep in the prison system. So, I mean, I had to go through it. I had a lot of PTSD from stuff I saw in prison. And I'll tell you right now, any of these tough guys that will come out and tell you that like it was just easy and the stuff they saw was no problem, like they're full of shit. Yeah. Yeah. But you have to be honest. If you're going to go to therapy, you can't just sit there and act tough. No. You have to like really open up and talk and like be ready to
do the work.
Yeah. Just like with recovery, you have to be ready to cry.
Yeah. I was literally just going to ask you that.
Cry. I have no problem. I cry at puppy commercials. I can fight and at a bar, and then I can also come home and cry at a puppy commercial.
Yeah. And that's rad because you're tapped into your emotions. Yeah. How long did it take you to get tapped into your emotions and start feeling things again?
I don't know, about a year, maybe a year into it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say to people out there that are having a hard time with that?
You have to just open up and let it go. Get those notions off your back that it's not cool, it's not tough. I mean, if you're not sniveling every 4 minutes, I mean, you know what I mean? But come on, it's when things happen, you're going to have to, when you start doing your steps, you're going to open up some floodgates of stuff that you might not realize. When you let go of some things that were weighing on your chest, it's really emotional. Yeah. Yeah.
So today, like, what are your goals? What are your plans? It looks like you got so much on the horizon.
I'm doing, I just filmed a reality show with tattoo artists and some rappers. I'm going to be the host of a reality show.
Cool.
I got some other background stuff in the works and some other stuff with in the movies I'm trying to get into right now. I do conventions. That's what I love doing with Sullen. We travel to conventions, tattoos, being around that industry. I love it. Yeah. I just love being with all those people in that industry.
Yeah. So what else would you say to someone right now? Last final thoughts here. Someone out there, some guy, kind of similar story when you were younger and he just does not know what to do. What should he do?
You got to talk to someone. You could message me on Instagram. I respond.
Okay,
to all
there
my,
you go.
all, you can message me. Any of you can.
I didn't want to put you on blast, but that's what I was hoping
tell
for.
people. Well, this is how I use my recovery.
Yeah.
This is how I 12 step. I'm open to everybody as long as you're appropriate. Because I've lately got some weird people, and it's usually men. It's not women. For some
Really, I
reason.
was going to say you must get a lot of.
I wish I did get titty pictures. So like, I don't get that. I get men sending
Really?
me uncomfortable stuff. Yes, stop.
Stop, guys.
Please.
It's not cool.
Lord.
Don't do that.
Yeah, but no, like if you need someone to talk to, I'm open. I respond to every single freaking message, even in that unfiltered box. I go and check those as long as it's appropriate. You're
That's
not trying
right.
to sell me stock options, and you're not
Yeah.
sending me a dick pic. I will respond to all of it as long as it's appropriate. I've helped some people. I've had mothers reach out to me and just cry their eyes out and say, man, and now I understand my son more. Hearing you talk, I can understand why my son did this, and I was about to cut him off. And so, like, I love that platform, my Instagram platform, and doing these shows on YouTube and everywhere else has allowed me to help so many.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I will respond to your message
All
as long as
right.
it's appropriate.
You responded to mine.
Yeah, I respond to everybody as long as it's appropriate. Yep.
Yeah. So what I hear from you is, number one, you get up, you stay consistent.
Yeah.
You reach out to your network of people. You show that
You
love.
have to
You
talk.
show that gratitude.
You have to show the love just when people show you love. Yeah.
Exactly. You got to give it back.
Yep.
Right? Be of service. Help others.
Yep.
You have your routine where you're going to the gym. You're taking care of yourself.
The gym was key for me getting sober. If you feel good about yourself, you'll want to stay sober.
Yeah. You have to.
Yep.
Health, fitness, people around you.
Yeah. A good network of people. I surround myself with some pretty awesome people.
Yeah. And live a purposeful life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Live your passion, you guys.
Yeah.
Find what you're good at.
And sometimes there's not much money in your passion, but as long as you're doing it, that's what's important.
And I always say that don't chase the money, chase your dream and what you're passionate about, and the money will come.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny. I don't make much money. I get enough to get by, and
like
I'm not focused on money.
Yeah.
I've got such a good group of friends. My brother, Uncle Jeremy, who runs Selling, I became friends with him after all of this, and me and him we spend hours, two older guys, tattooed older guys, just talking about just shit that those conversations with a bunch of these men mean the world to me.
Yeah.
And I've got friends from childhood that have now gotten sober, gang members, graffiti artists, people from prison have come home, and you'd be surprised. All these people that have just saw the light.
Yeah.
And we just all talk, and just conversations are a big part.
Yeah.
Big part. Just chopping it up with other guys and some women
Yeah.
is what was one of the things that helps keep me sober.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks for all you do,
Thank you.
honestly.
I
And
appreciate it.
thanks for recovering out loud.
Thank you.
And being a voice and
We
not
have to.
being afraid to
We
be a
have to.
voice, because
Yeah.
it's people like you where people go, okay, I can talk now too.
Well, I've also learned that the way I look, there's a lot more people that look like me, and I can touch the guys and the women like me that, like, for instance, a regular Joe Schmo at an AA meeting. You're not going to, people like us that are heavily tattooed, and they're not going to relate to him. But I can relate to so many more people, and I love that I can use even just my image to help someone like me that had a bad day.
Yes.
That's why we recover out loud.
That's
For me.
right. For
me.
sure. Me
Yeah.
too. Well, you guys, if you want to talk to him, Mohawk Matt, right?
Hit me up, Mohawk Matt _SFV on Instagram. I have a TikTok. I think it's the same thing. I'm not really that good with TikTok.
Me neither.
And I have a Facebook. I think it's Matt Camerano on Facebook.
Okay. Well, thank you. And thanks for your service.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
rad.
it. Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys. See you next time.
Bye.